Welcome to the Numerology and Astrology for November 14th, 2021. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 12. And if you add the 1 and the 2 together, you get the positive mind number 3. Today, the number 3 brings us to the places of looking upwards towards those things that are fulfilling and positive. It is the Trinity, Virgin, Mother, Crone. It is the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. It is the Mother, Father, Child. It is a number that shows that when there is a triangle, there is greater stability and the merging of the duality that the number 2 produces something new. The number 3. 3 different points or perspectives can allow us to zero in on an exact place in time and space. It is a number that allows for the growth of expression, imagination, and enthusiasm. So today, take a look at what allows you to expand your perspective. Notice what is calling for your clear objectivity. Imagine what type of world we could create if we allowed our imagination to guide and inspire us to look past all the judgment and into those places where there is no right, no wrong, but choices that allow us to learn and become better. The astrology today. The moon shifts from Pisces into the enthusiastic and bold sign of Aries mid-morning. Sometimes a direct approach is advised. Perhaps no more dancing around the obvious is what we should do. Say what you want and mean what you say. While the Aries moon gives us some gumption and drive, we also have Venus not in a happy place. So it can take the punch out of those words spoken, and perhaps that might be a good thing. Venus is semi-squaring to Jupiter, and it is moving into a square with Chiron. It can make many things disconcerting and relationships strained. We are to try to do our best to stop from being too idealistic and look towards appreciating what we have more than desiring what we want or need. Watch out for making huge purchases. This is not a wise move under this astrology. Be frugal. Know that massively impressive gifts are a sign of insecurity and a fear of loss. And I didn't do a quote today because I kind of got into a philosophical discussion on my blog. So kind of warning, philosophical rant going in here. Not even a rant, just like a mind bender maybe. Okay, here we go. In the study of numerology and tarot, that has helped me to see into the rhythms and patterns of life. But in that sequence, there is the potential to move beyond the systems that define this reality and return back to the natural space of the soul's knowing of oneness. In the process of understanding this dimension and linear time, we must experience the duality of life. Once we experience it, we must master the awareness of being within this duality and yet returning to the self. The mind's desire to organize and structure reality will tend to divide and sort based on oppositional patterns and experiences. While it is handy on so many critical levels to master this density, it can continue to pull us apart. Once we recognize that split in ourselves and the world, we understand that we must come back to the oneness of the self and that divine spark within each of us and all of life. One of the easy places to recognize is that when you look into the eyes of another living creature or feel into the life force and essence of any living thing, we can see a mirror of ourselves. Then we recognize that there is no other. There is no duality at all because the number 2 does not exist except in the mind. If we are all one part of a greater whole, there is no need for fighting, winning, war, conflict, comparison, judgment, or being better than another. Because if duality does not exist, then what if the idea of the number 1 also may not exist? But we often must reclaim the self in order to recognize that there is no I or me. That is because the self cannot be counted in any form of a unit. As a psychic in the art of channeling, more often than not, there is no I speaking. There is always a we speaking. So, where do we go from here? There is no striving to achieve the real journey home. No one is walking there alone. We are all walking each other home. Home is not a place, but an unraveling and an undoing of the beliefs that separate and divide this dimension. I'm going to say that one again. Home is not a place, but an unraveling and an undoing of the beliefs that separate and divide in this dimension. Happiness is not a locked door. that you have to learn how to open and figure out where the key is. Happiness is where you recognize the edge of your own darkness and simply decide to lean into that edge. That is when you recognize that there was no door, there was no darkness, only an edge of light to be experienced. Awareness comes when you recognize that it is the source, the nature of source, to open all doors. It is the mind that manifests those doors, and it is the soul that must learn to step in when the mind speaks from the voice of negation and negative self-worth. Awareness recognizes that pushing is just another element in the duality. Awareness knows that all one needs to do is relax and put your back against what seems scary, and the egoless self will just naturally and effortlessly fall into the next illumination of knowing. Thanks for bearing with me today. Bye.